Good day everyone. So today I will be discussing some of the approaches in teaching literature. I am Jessa Joy Chong, a BS Ed English 3 student, and now I will be discussing the moral, philosophical, and stylistic approach in teaching literature. Moral philosophical approach is one of the oldest approaches. It started on Greeks and Romanian times. Critics believe that the larger purpose of literature is to teach morality and to prove philosophical issues. This approach is to interpret literature within the context of philosophical thought of a period or group. Moral philosophical approach also describes or evaluates a work in terms of the ideas, values it contains. This often means examining the work's ideas and values in both those expressed directly by the narrator or the character and those implied by the overall design and content. Some will also evaluate the quality of work's ideas and values by determining how will this fit a certain criteria like truth, usefulness, clarity, consistency, and complexity. Besides looking at ideas, critics may also examine the moral effect or value of a work in a more general way, considering how the images, events, characters, and event styles in a work affect its reader as moral beings. Critics taking a moral philosophical approach usually describe or evaluate a work in terms of ideas and values it contains. Here are the prominence of its approach. Plato acknowledged literature's power capable of corrupting morals and undermining religion. Aristotle considered literature as capable of fostering virtue. Horace, literature should be delightful and instructive. Samuel Johnson, the function of literature is to teach morality and prove philosophical issues. Mateo Arnold stated that poetry's most important offering is its moral or philosophical teaching. This approach also have advantage and disadvantage. The advantage are it teaches values and morality, and it has an effect on readers. The disadvantage is judgment. The judgment of the readers towards the author or in the character. Next topic is the stylistic approach. Stylistic is a language-based approach. It incorporates a close reading of its literature, contrary to the traditional way of memorization and reproduction. Literary analysis through stylistic approach encourages in students the ability to infer meaning by interacting with a text. The stylistic approach demands a close reading and rereading of the literary text by the students. A close reading and rereading of the literary text would help the students internalize the rule of grammar of the target language indirectly. The pedagogical aspect of stylistics. A stylistic approach teaches students how to look for and interpret stylistic dimension of a text. Students are made to learn how what is said and how meaning are made. They are taught to know what makes the language of literature different from everyday language, if it is really is. The characteristic of stylistic approach. It applies linguistics to literature in the hope of arriving at analyses which are more broadly based, rigorous, and objective. It represents a promising area not only because stylistic analysis involve both fields, but because such an analysis makes possible a more complex approach to literature, and it focuses on the linguistic devices or application at the phonological, lexical, or syntactic level whichever proves to be meaningful in any kind of literary interpretation. The advantages of this approach are: language is made up of words, structures, and sentences, and literature also made up of these words, structures, and sentences. Literature is language in its applied form and prepares a basis for the study of language through various points of view. So, every piece of literary writing is different from the others. They have similarities but are never identical. So, every piece of literature is unique with own peculiarities. So, therefore, literature offers as many models or varieties of language just as many writers. Like how the writer used the same limited set of sounds with a lot of words, structures, syntax, and collocation that set the platform for a stylistic analysis of a particular task. And that's all, and thank you for listening.